If you're spending more on chicken feed than you're making on eggs, this might just be the most important video you watch this year. Feed prices haven't just gone up. For most backyard chicken keepers, they've become the single biggest expense on the property, and every month, more of your money disappears into that bag. Somewhere between your wallet and your flock, somebody is making a fortune. But there's a system. One system that can turn waste into live protein, reproduce on its own, and keep feeding your birds long after commercial feed prices climb again. It's been used by small farmers, studied by agricultural researchers, and scaled in places where feed costs can make or break a flock. So why are most backyard chicken owners still not using it? I'm going to show you exactly why, and more importantly, exactly how to set it up yourself. So, first, let's talk about what that bag of feed is actually costing you. Average backyard flock? 6 to 8 hens. Average feed consumption? Roughly a pound per bird per day. At current prices, that's somewhere between $400 and $600 a year just in feed. And that number has been climbing. If you bought feed 2 years ago and you're buying it now, you already know. The price at the register is not the same number it used to be. Now here's the number that should bother you. Protein makes up roughly 16 to 18% of commercial laying feed. That's what your hens actually need, protein, to produce eggs consistently. The rest of the bag is filler, grains, binders. You're paying premium prices for a product that's mostly not the thing your birds actually require. And the protein source in most commercial feed? Soy, imported, processed, expensive, and getting more expensive every year. Black soldier fly larvae are 40 to 45% protein by dry weight, higher than soy, higher than most commercial feed. And they contain a fat profile that laying hens genuinely thrive on, including lauric acid, which has documented antimicrobial properties. Your hens aren't just getting protein, they're getting a nutritionally complete live food source that their biology is designed to process. Watch a chicken find a grub in the garden sometime. That reaction, that scramble, is not learned behavior, it's instinct. This is what they're supposed to be eating. And here's the part that makes this very different from just buying mealworms at the pet store. The black soldier fly system reproduces itself. You just have to set it up once. You feed it kitchen scraps, vegetable waste, even chicken manure. The flies colonize it naturally. They find the setup on their own in warm months. They lay eggs, the eggs hatch into larvae, the larvae eat the waste, grow fat on it, and then, this is the part most people don't believe until they see it, they self-harvest. They climb out of the waste material and drop into a collection bucket. You don't even have to reach in and pull them out. The system does it for you. A study published in the Journal of Insects as Food and Feed found that hens supplemented with black soldier fly larvae showed improved egg production and higher omega-3 fatty acids in eggs compared to hens on standard commercial feed alone. The researchers noted the larvae's nutritional profile as a primary driver. This isn't backyard folklore. There are peer-reviewed numbers behind it, and small-scale farmers who've been running these systems for years report feed cost reductions of 50 to 80%, depending on flock size and system scale. The 50 to 80% figure deserves context. It doesn't mean you never buy feed again, at least not immediately. It means the larvae supplement displaces a significant portion of the commercial feed your hens would otherwise require. A well-running system producing adequate larvae means your hens eat less bag feed because they're getting their protein needs met from the larvae. The bag lasts longer, you buy less frequently. Over a year, that adds up to real money. Some people running larger systems do eliminate commercial feed almost entirely. That takes time to build to, but even partial replacement in the first season is financially meaningful. So here's the obvious question. If this works, and the research supports it working, why are most backyard chicken keepers still buying full-price commercial feed every month? 2 reasons. First, black soldier flies aren't glamorous. Larvae aren't a product you can put on a shelf in a farm supply store with a nice label. There's no margin in teaching people to grow their own protein. The feed industry has no interest in you doing this. Second, most people have never seen this system in action and assume it's complicated. It isn't, but that assumption keeps people paying for the bag. Let me tell you something here. This system has a learning curve. Not a steep one, but the first few weeks you're going to be figuring out moisture levels and feeding rates and whether your setup is attracting flies or sitting there doing nothing. That adjustment period is real. Most people who try this and give up do it in the first 2 weeks because the system isn't running at full capacity yet, and they assume it doesn't work. It just takes time to establish. I'll show you what to watch for so you don't make that mistake. Let's build it. The basic system is called a biopod or a larvae composting bin. Commercial versions exist, they work well, but the DIY version from a 20-gallon dark-colored plastic tote costs about $20 in materials and performs comparably. That's what I'm going to walk you through. Materials: one 20-gallon dark-colored plastic tote with a lid. Dark color matters. Black soldier flies prefer darker, more enclosed environments for laying. A clear tote will reduce colonization. Get the dark one. Cut a hole in the lid, roughly 4 to 6 inches, covered with window screen mesh. This is your ventilation and fly entry point. Black soldier flies need to be able to enter the container to lay eggs. The mesh keeps out rodents and larger pests while allowing the flies access. On one interior side of the tote, cut a notch or attach a ramp made from hardware cloth or rough wood. This is the self-harvesting mechanism. Mature larvae naturally migrate away from the moist feeding area toward drier ground before pupating. The ramp intercepts that migration and directs it into a collection bucket placed outside the tote. That's the whole self-harvest system. Now, placement. This is more important than most build guides acknowledge. Black soldier flies are warm weather insects. They're most active between 75 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Below 60 degrees, activity slows significantly. In northern climates, the system is seasonal. You're running it spring through early fall. In warmer climates, it runs most of the year. Place the tote somewhere that gets morning sun and afternoon shade. Direct afternoon sun in summer will overheat the system and kill larvae. Morning sun warms it up for activity. Afternoon shade keeps it from getting too hot. That balance matters. What to feed it? Almost any organic waste works. Fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, stale bread, cooked grains, grass clippings mixed with kitchen waste, chicken manure. Yes, the system processes it, and larvae actually thrive on it. What not to feed it is meat and fish in large quantities in the early stages. It will attract the wrong insects and create odor problems before the system is established. Once the colony is running strongly, small amounts of meat waste can be added. In the beginning, keep it plant-based. The system will establish faster and with less odor management required. Moisture level is the variable most people get wrong, and it's the variable that determines whether your system produces well or just sits there rotting. The feeding material should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist but not wet. If you squeeze a handful and water runs out, too wet. If it crumbles and feels dry, add water. Too wet means anaerobic conditions and bad odors. Too dry means larvae can't process the material and mortality increases. Moist, like a wrung-out sponge. That's the single most important thing to check every time you open the system. Attracting the initial fly population. In most of the continental United States, black soldier flies are present naturally. They don't need to be purchased or introduced. They will find a food source if it's accessible. The mesh opening in your lid is your fly entry point. In the first week or two, you're waiting for flies to discover the system, enter, and lay eggs. To speed this up, if you want to, place a small amount of very ripe or slightly fermented fruit near the lid opening. The scent attracts them faster. Some people add a small amount of material from an already established system to seed it, but in most warm climate locations in summer, just patience and ripe fruit is enough. Once eggs are laid, which you'll see as tiny cream-colored clusters near the lid or on feeding material, larvae emerge within 2 to 4 days in warm conditions. For the first week, they're almost invisible. By week 2, they're visible, but small. By week 3 to 4, in optimal conditions, you have a functioning, self-sustaining colony producing harvestable larvae daily. The first harvest feels slightly surreal. You come out in the morning and there are larvae in a collection bucket. You didn't put them there. The system put them there. That's when it clicks. Let's talk about feeding it to your chickens. Fresh larvae can go directly to the flock. Most chicken keepers I've talked to just tip the collection bucket into the run and step back. The birds go absolutely crazy for them. The protein hit is immediate, and the feeding behavior, the scramble, the competition, is genuinely entertaining. Beyond the entertainment value, that protein is going directly into egg production. Most people running established systems report noticeably darker, richer yolks within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent larvae supplementation. That's the lauric acid and fat profile showing up in the egg. If you have more larvae than your flock needs immediately, you can store them. Refrigeration slows their metabolism without killing them. A container of larvae in the fridge stays viable for several days. For longer storage, dry them. Spread them on a tray in an oven at the lowest possible temperature for 2 to 3 hours. Dried larvae store for weeks and can be used as a shelf-stable protein supplement mixed into feed. Flexible, zero waste. The system produces more than most small flocks need once it's fully established. Winter management in northern climates. Once temperatures drop consistently below 60 degrees, the system goes dormant. Flies stop laying, larvae slow, and eventually die or pupate. You have two options. Option 1, let the system go dormant and restart in spring. The tote can sit through winter with dried material inside and be restarted with fresh waste food when temperatures rise. Option 2, bring the system indoors. A garage, a basement, a heated outbuilding. A heat lamp can maintain adequate temperature. Some people run small indoor systems year-round this way. In southern climates, Texas, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Arizona, the system runs most or all of the year without any winter management needed. The most common mistake, and the one that kills more first-time systems than anything else, is overfeeding. It seems counterintuitive. More food should mean more larvae, right? Wrong. Larvae can only process so much material at a given population density. If you add more waste than the current larvae population can handle, the excess starts rotting anaerobically. Bad odor, wrong insects attracted, system becomes unpleasant to manage. Feed at a rate that matches your current larvae population. In early stages, small amounts every few days. As the population grows, increase feeding rate proportionally. The system tells you when it's ready for more. If the feeding material is mostly gone when you check, add more. If it's barely touched, wait. Let me put the numbers together one more time. Average backyard hen of 6 to 8 hens. Current feed cost $400 to $600 per year. A well-established black soldier fly system running through the warm months in most U.S. climates, spring through fall, can provide meaningful protein supplementation for roughly 6 months of the year. Conservative estimate of feed displacement, 40%. That's $200 to $250 back in your pocket per year from a $20 tote and kitchen scraps. Larger systems, more aggressive management, warmer climates, those numbers go higher. Beyond the feed cost reduction, there's a soil benefit most people don't factor in. The residual material left in the tote after larvae have processed it is called frass. It's a mix of larval castings and partially processed organic matter. It's genuinely excellent fertilizer, higher in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium than standard compost. Take the frass out every few weeks, add it to your garden beds. The system is producing two things simultaneously: live protein for your birds and high-quality soil amendment for your garden. The kitchen scraps that were going in your trash are leaving the system as two separate products that would otherwise cost you money. The egg quality argument is worth dwelling on for a moment. Backyard eggs from well-managed flocks are already better than commercial eggs by most nutritional measures: higher omega-3, better yolk color, more vitamin D. Adding consistent black soldier fly larvae supplementation pushes that profile further. The lauric acid content in larvae is specifically relevant here. It's a medium-chain fatty acid with antimicrobial properties that shows up in the egg and supports hen gut health simultaneously. You're not just cutting costs, you're producing a better product. That matters if you're selling eggs locally, giving them to neighbors, or just feeding your own family. One more thing. The people who get the most out of this system are not the ones who set it up and wait for magic to happen. They're the ones who pay attention to it in the first 3 weeks. Check moisture every few days, watch for egg clusters near the lid, note when larvae start appearing, adjust feeding rate as the population grows. Those first 3 weeks of observation are what separate a system that runs itself for years from one that sits in the corner getting ignored. 3 weeks of attention, then it largely runs itself. That trade-off is about as favorable as any system I've come across. If you set one up this season, drop a comment. Tell me your climate, your flock size, what you're feeding the system, what results you're getting. I'm very much interested in how this performs across different regions because the variables shift a lot between a dry Arizona summer and a humid Georgia summer.